Just 24 hours into Battlefield 5, and I'm here to tell you that the MG34 is a gun that you need to give a try when you start playing. Now, I know some PlayStation players, or all PlayStation players, won't get access until the earliest, the 15th, with the Deluxe Edition, and there are lots of other people who are waiting to play as well. But when you do start playing, jump into the support class and unlock the MG34. It's a weapon you need to try out because it's just damn good fun to use, and it offers a completely different playstyle to games that have come in the past of the Battlefield franchise. Now, I've really enjoyed my first day or so of game time with Battlefield 5. This game to me is just a proper breath of fresh air, and it returns to more tactical times in the Battlefield franchise as well. And the games that I've had, mainly I've been playing on Conquest servers. Many of them have been extremely close finishes, which makes for some tense moments at the end of matches. Sometimes just 10 or 20 tickets between the two teams. Does really heat things up at the end of a round. I do just want to quickly mention, however, at the start of the video, some players are having PC performance issues with Battlefield 5, various graphical issues and things like that, issues of low FPS compared to other titles, frame drops and stuttering appear to be quite common at the moment, and currently there isn't an official fix for this. That'll likely come in a patch over the next week, but there are some things that you can try. You need to make sure you've got the latest GPU drivers installed on your PC. I've got the new RTX 2080 Ti graphics card. That had some really bad stuttering on the previous driver version before I updated to the current game-ready driver for Battlefield 5. And make sure you turn on future frame rendering in the graphics settings and then restart your game and try again. This is a new setting that DICE has added with Battlefield 5, and with it turned on at the moment, that appears to be fixing some performance issues as well. Something is bugged here. This is just a current workaround. It might work for you. It worked for me and it worked for some of my friends, but it doesn't appear to work for everybody. And there's even a rumor that some of the settings within the menu just aren't applying properly and then are different to what they say on the screen. So it could be totally broken at the moment. If that is the case for you, then I'm sure a patch will come out in the next few days. I know Tigger on Twitter has been talking about it quite a lot. It seems to be on the team's radar, but at the moment, there are some graphical performance issues with this game. However, let's get back to the MG34. That's what I want to talk about in this video. This is the first gun that you unlock in the support class after using the KE7, which is the starter weapon. And of course, this is classified as an MMG, a medium machine gun. That comes with the caveat of being unable to ADS properly, unless of course you're using the bipod. Now, a lot of people expressed concern before the launch that this type of weapon was simply a waste of time using because it wouldn't be able to compete in gunfights, but being fully honest here, this is probably the most fun way to experience the support class in Battlefield 5. I truly believe that. It is a really good experience when you use the MMGs. It's such a different experience that makes you think about your next move a hell of a lot more, and that for me is a good thing. I'm being challenged not only to be successful with the weapon, because you need to be stationary, that makes you a huge target, but I'm also fighting my own urge to continually push forward and be aggressive all the time. You can't be as aggressive with the MG34, and that's why I'm enjoying using it so much. I'm having to use weapons in the support class completely differently to previous games in the franchise. The footage that you're watching here in the background is my fully upgraded MG34. This includes 4 different specializations from the progression tree. And of course there are 4 different levels and you can only pick 1 specialization per level, and it has different pathways, so depending on what you pick, you might not be able to pick something else. So my setup is as follows. First of all, I chose recoil buffer. That reduces the vertical recoil. Then I went for chrome lining. That elongates the time it takes for the gun to overheat by 33%. Then I went for double drum mag, which is fairly self-explanatory, but it ups the rounds from 50 to 75. And then I chose light bolt, and this increases the rate of fire from 670 to 770 rounds a minute. And damn, this thing is really enjoyable to use. There are other specializations that you could pick, like high velocity bullets, this. That means you don't have to lead targets too much at range, and flashless propellant, and that hides the muzzle flash, making you harder to spot. But I think they counteract the inherent traits of the weapon and don't offer hugely tangible benefits over other choices that you could make. There is one specialization called Extended Belt that I would have chosen, but because it sits on level 3 on the left-hand side of the tree, I'd have needed to have picked the flashless propellant option on level 2 to take that path. Extended Belt gives you 100 rounds instead of 50, and that trumps the double drum mag, which gives you 75. But overall, I'd say that those choices, recoil buffer, chrome lining, double drum mag, and light bolt, I'd say at the moment, that's probably the best setup for the MG34. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm saying the MG34 is overpowered or it's the best gun in the game and that you should be using it because you'll just beat everybody else. Far from it, but when you use it to its strengths, it can be very, very effective. With its upgraded rate of fire, if you choose that option, the time it takes for you to take down an enemy at mid-range is somewhat decreased, and that means that you can switch focus to another target faster and start firing at them instead. And because most of the time you're going to be using a bipod, that means you're going to be stationary when you're firing, so if you can finish off somebody a little bit quicker and then move over to someone else, you might be able to preempt them shooting at you by you shooting at them and dealing damage to them first. So it's all about reaction times when it comes to that specialization. That increased rate of fire also increases your ability to suppress enemies, and trust me, playing as the support class in Battlefield 5, suppression is one of the most extremely helpful and now readable mechanics in the game. If you know an enemy is behind a door or around a corner, start firing bullets downrange near that location, and likely you're going to see enemy suppressed pop up in the points feed, and then you'll get that red suppression spot icon appear in the 3D HUD as well. That appears for you and your squad, I believe. I don't know if it appears for everyone on your team, but I think it appears for your squad, and that gives players around a better chance at finishing off that enemy for you. The increased rate of fire and increased bullet count with the double drum mag turns this thing from a fairly bog-standard bipod machine gun into a suppression master. You can be really, really effective with this. Don't be afraid to lock down a hallway or an angle by simply full auto-firing with the bipod. It's a part of what the support class is supposed to do in Battlefield 5, and I would argue it's more satisfying to do it in this game than any previous Battlefield game. The double drum mag, it does kind of cut off a bit more of your vision, especially around the gun as you're moving from location to location, but once you deploy the bipod, you kind of forget about that, and you just concentrate on what is between your crosshairs. Now, of course, it's not all happy days with the MG34. There are some drawbacks. That's the point of weapon balance. Being aware of those drawbacks and working around them will, however, make you a much more successful player, and I think it will make you a more valuable member of the squad. If you can die less, then you won't need to be revived all the time by a medic. So, first of all, try not to stay put for too long, unless you are looking to pin down an enemy in a hallway or a room, and if you're in good cover. If you are bipoded up behind cover or you are prone, you are by far an easier target for a recon player, so being aware of the angles the enemy has on you is as important as the angle that you have on the enemy that you're shooting at. And quite a few times I mistakenly tried to bipod up on the same piece of cover to fire a few shots and get a quick kill, and I found time and again enemy recons would just set up and suppress me because I'd hear the shots and then I'd move away again and I wouldn't be able to get back to the place that I wanted to be. So using these MMGs requires a little bit more patience to get yourself in the right position. Secondly, I'd advise you to keep your distance from the enemy. Because you can't fully ADS with the MG34, you get this sort of half ADS where the screen sort of zooms in a bit and your crosshairs tighten very slightly, but nowhere near is it anything like as accurate as you would be if you deployed the bipod. If you absolutely have to, then you can hipfire this thing at extreme close range and you probably do some damage, but if you're coming up against any more than one player at a time, then you're going to get beaten. 2v1, and if you can't bipod this thing up, you're going to get shot in the head every single time. And thirdly, there is a slight delay before you start firing if you're not bipodded. Essentially, it just stops you spamming the weapon without placing it properly, and the game is basically letting you know you'd be better off bipodding the weapon than doing what you're about to do with it. Just be aware of that. If you need to use it at close range against an enemy, sometimes you're going to notice that little bit of delay and the enemy might get the jump on you, but from what I understand, it's simply a balancing feature to stop you spamming bullets at close range. All of the assignments focused around the MG34 as well. They emphasize its role as this defensive, more methodical weapon. Some assignments ask you to only get kills whilst defending objectives during conquest matches, so you can set yourself up behind a fortification and defend a flag, or just simply damaging enemies rather than killing them. So clearly, the devs have placed this as a weapon that's designed to be set up, locked in on a point, and used as a defense. Although, I've got to say, it does play really nicely as an attacking weapon as well. I highly recommend spending some more time with this gun when you start playing Battlefield 5, and its bigger brother as well, the MG42. As I said, the MG34 is the first gun you unlock for support, so it won't be long after you start playing before you can take it and start ranking it up. Leave me some of your thoughts down below. Let me know in general how you're feeling about Battlefield 5, if you're positive, negative about it, whether you've started playing yet, or if you're still waiting for your version to launch up. Thank you very much for watching today, and until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.